Over the years, we have had many guests on our show, but none of them stand out quite like Mr. Drew and his animals, too.
Mr. Drew, whose actual name is Andrew Desjardins, has taken in thousands of exotic pets over the years. Most of these animals have been neglected and come to him in rough shape.
Typically, he and his crew of critters join us here in the studio, but this time, we decided to take a trip to Lewiston and visit his new center.
So we got a couple of guys here. We'll take out Ms. Jackson first.
Andrew Desjardins, better known as Mr. Drew, has always been drawn to creatures of all kinds.
So calm. So kids will hold her in her lap and stuff like that. I always liked animals. My mother didn't. I wasn't allowed to have pets. I had fish. That's what got me started, but I've always been curious. He'll close his eyes and raise his head up, right? Oh, right there. Hi.
Most days you can find him here at Mr. Drew's Exotic Animal Education Center in Lewiston.
He wanted to hold the tarantula, so we're going to pull Debbie out.
The 10,000 square foot center is home to an assortment of lizards, turtles, birds, frogs, spiders, fish, and other animals that often were neglected and not native to Maine.
That's his way of talking to me and letting me know that he's not necessarily in the mood to be picked up, but then I'm rubbing him and he's like, oh, wait a minute. This is okay.
There's a natural history section, a cave to explore and find fossils, a wall full of minerals and gems.
Do you want him to chase one again?
Plus a roster of dedicated employees.
I started volunteering here about a year ago and then became an employee. And it's not all, cleaning up poop. People think that that's the only thing, but it's not. It's interacting with the animals, learning about them. I absolutely love this place. I feel like it's therapy, and I feel like I'm getting paid to have therapy for every day that I come in here. It's great. Don't tell Drew.
Well, we can't fix a shell, and the shells don't come off.
From the beginning, Mr. Drew's mission has been simple: help as many exotic animals as possible.
What?
While inspiring others to pay attention to the world around them.
We started out of our house, and we had a room that had some animals in it. Some of the animals I had, of course, people find out you have an animal, and they're like, "Hey, my kid doesn't want this. Can you take it for me?" Yeah, sure. And we would take it in. And at that time, we'd also adopted 3 kids. So our kids had grown up, but we adopted 3 more. So it was like, things are getting tight. And I told my wife, I said, I cannot take any more animals in. We have to stop. I said, because there's a fine line between rescue and hoarding. And once you cross that line, here I am talking about responsibility, proper ownership, and stuff like that. My wife looked at me and said, we can't stop taking in animals because they need us.
Soon after, Drew's wife found a space better suited for their work at the Pepperell Mill in Lewiston.
We were only on the first floor. The first floor is about a little over 1,000 square feet. I remember our utility bills being as much as $7,000 just to keep the place warm in the winter. Mills are old and they're cold and they're hot and they're all kinds, but we made it work.
Little did he know, by giving these animals a second chance, Drew would get his own.
I had been drinking for many years, and alcoholism runs in my family. Working with kids, that was a big part of the sobriety. I couldn't go to birthday parties drunk. My wife, God bless her, was a big support. I'd crossed some lines that finally she had enough. And not enough to say, I'm going to leave you, but I love you. And she really kind of like, this has to happen. And I was aware that I still have my license, I still have a job, I still have my family, and that's all a stone's throw away from disappearing if I don't change. And so the Mr. Drew allowed me to focus more on that. And I always say, if I was still drinking, none of this would be here. None of it. Nobody would want to come see an old drunk man.
That decision to get sober has allowed Mr. Drew to continue doing what he loves most.
Look at that long tongue. That's how she smells.
And he says he has no plans of slowing down.
I want them to feel like this was probably the best $10 they ever spent. Because nowadays kids are You know, they're on computers, they're on their games, they're
Yeah.
on YouTube, they're watching, you know, and it's like, you know, if I can get them interested, if they pick up a rock in their backyard and say, oh, this is cool, I'm going to add it to my collection, I did my job.
Yeah.
I got them interested in something beyond what's in front of them. If we put them down here, Wilbert, can you sit? Thank you. Yeah, he's very good. He knows verbal commands as well as sign language.
But what's that?
That was him when he was a baby.
Well,
He was frozen in ice when I found him. I've kind of created a little world, and I like the world I'm in. I can't worry about the world around me. I can't what happens in Washington, D.C. or over the seas. And it's not that I don't pay attention to it. I do, and I have opinions and thoughts, but I can only change this world, and I can only make this world better. And that's my focus, is how can I make the world better by making my world better for everybody.
He made my world better that day, just being there. It was so fun. There are so many animals to check out, and it's just really fun to see him interact with kids because he just has such a gift when it comes to sharing what he does with everybody.
He does. That's one of the things that's always so delightful about having him here in the studio is his enthusiasm is just infectious, and it just piques your curiosity, and it makes you want to learn more.
Absolutely. And there are so many people, by the way, that are stopping in to learn more. He was telling me that when he was over at the mill, he'd range from like 5,000, 7,000 guests a year. How many do you think he had last year in this new 10,000 square foot place?
I don't know, but clearly way more.
50,000 people stopped in to say hello, which it's a pretty big jump. from
That's
other years.
extraordinary.
Lots of people checking him out. And you, by the way, can learn more about Mr. Drew on our website and on our new Center Maine Plus app. And he's going to be back in the studio with us in a few weeks, so we'll see him again.
You know what I had never known before? Just something I learned from that story? Turtles understanding verbal commands?
And it's, seriously, he was like, can you sit for a second? And the turtle just stopped.
Wow.
It's a gift.
All right, coming up.